two, three, four. Cheech and Manny Show. Cheech and Manny Show.
The Cheech and Manny Show.
Woo!
We're live. We are on the air. Oh man, do we have a special episode for all you Brush fans out there? Also, yeah, getting on the spaceship. We're gonna have to go through the galaxy
We
to
are.
talk about the greatest band in the galaxy, Canada's Rush. Right. So,
Yes.
we're continuing our series. Consider this like one of many free talks, and the theme is why are Rush the greatest? Right. So that's a question that we always hear, and us being Rush fans and music fans, Rush can be and should be considered one of the greatest bands of all time. And then coming soon, she's correct me if I'm wrong. We're also going to discuss why possibly they're not liked in the future.
Um. Yeah, we could talk about that too. There's a lot of haters out
That'll be good.
there.
That'll be good antithesis and
Yeah,
talk
and I hate those people that always don't. If you don't like Rush, I'm not your friend.
I feel like that's a red flag.
Well, I know a few people I'm really good friends with that don't like Rush, but I forgive them.
Oh, you know a lot.
Yeah.
No, but that being the case, yeah. So, Cheech, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. Great day off with Zoe. Potter's Field got a show coming up. And I'm sure that'll pop in on the commercial November 12th at Prohibition, 109 Front Street, Massapequa. Come check us out. Visions is uh, in the process of putting all our music up on the Facebook, and we're finding out there are bootlegs of Visions
Mm.
in other languages. So if you get a CD and you open up the lyrics, it'll be in Italian. Don't know how this is happening.
It's just happening.
I don't know. I just got off the phone with cousin Jim, the singer, and this is happening. There's bootlegs of it in Portuguese and in Italian, and talking about a reunion.
Mhm.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna take it one day at a time. You know.
Excited, man. Look at that. Look at that. Excited for you, man. And
Thank
also,
you.
get tuned in during our little ad. You have an upcoming show as well in Massapequa, right? On November 12th.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And how's everything with you, man?
Dude, life is good, man. I have my Robin Williams outfit here, teaching
Love it.
outfit. I've been watching Dead Poet Society, like binge watching. I love it.
Oh,
I've been having
well,
such
that's
great
one of
lessons
the
with my
best
my
movies.
students. Dude, I've been having great. I mean, on Tuesday I had a rough day in the school, as any of my fellow teachers out there know, right? So shout out to all my fellow teachers. You have
Awesome.
these long, rough days, but lately I've been having amazing lessons, and
Great, great.
I teach for without spoiling too much foreign language and a certain field that you and I love as well. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Love being a teacher, and then I love having those Robin Williams moments where I have him stand up on the desks. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I taught bass for many years, and I got many students out there that went on to be successful. So it's such a great feeling when you can pass along knowledge, and that's why I feel now this show is amazing because we're passing along our musical knowledge to people,
Mm.
that may not know anything about Springsteen, Dylan, Rush, and I got some notes on Rush that people might not know. And I just wrote, we just got off the phone talking about this, and I wish that was an episode, our conversation. I just wrote a full-blown prog rock episode. Thank you. The temple's not good for many things, but it was good for this. At that magic silver table, I hear coming through the PA system the halftime drum beat of Carl Palmer and the Moog explosion of Keith Emerson over Lucky Man. And I'm like, I run over to you, man, are you hearing this? You got to do something on Prague. So once again, we wrote an episode on Prague at that magic metal table that separates us in our departments. And I think we put out, what did we put out? The River is out now.
River Part One, which also includes our free talk at the end. But yeah, we have side one. That episode, that I feel like that's gonna be like 3 parts, or 4 parts,
Oh
because
yeah.
I mean, we went on a tangent with Independence Day, but yes, the river is out there. Watch it and let us know how
Yeah,
you. Yeah, I agree with you. I love how we came up with this concept, and then we were on the phone, and yeah, I wish we recorded that conversation because we had so much golden nuggets, and so
yeah.
we're gonna have a proggy episode coming up. We did
So
it with you, Wobbin, right? So the
yeah, this is going to be the same formula, the prehistoric prog rock, leading up to the four beasts of prog rock and many other that fall under the umbrella. I'm going to bring up prog rock in this episode because the greatest band in the galaxy is a huge part of this prog rock topic. That
yeah,
actually,
no, for
you
sure.
actually brought this up to me. You brought it up in the temple, saying how important Rush was to prog rock at a certain period in time when, well, I don't want, we'll get into it, when
We'll
prog
get
rock
into that.
was
Yeah. So, but
sinking.
for our viewers out there, before we start, please subscribe to our channel if you like our content. Give this
Yes.
video a like if you are a prog or rush head. And as always, leave a comment. We would love to hear your opinions, especially in this one, because I know Rush fans are very opinionated, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll get started with the show.
Get started.
Go.
All right. So, this is going to be why Rush is the best band in the galaxy. And I'm just going to throw a couple reasons out there first. So if you take a guess, how
Now,
many
wait,
albums?
Cheech, before you begin, will Silky Joe agree with that?
Um, no, he'd say Led Zeppelin is the
I was
greatest
gonna
band
say
in
he's
the galaxy.
he would say the Led Zeppelin is the greatest. My heart's torn because I would say either Rush or the Beatles, which I'm a
Well,
no.
I mean, the Beatles started it all. So without the Beatles, and I'm not going to give away, but they're in our Prague. They'll be in the Prague episode, but we won't.
Sure, we're gonna make that argument, and I
Yeah.
yeah.
The Beatles started everything. They started everything from influence of Prague to the pop song
I
to the
will say,
greatest. McCartney's one of the greatest bass players
oh,
ever.
talk about him on the Rick during the Wings tour, and then seeing Getty on that Rick, same.
Oh yeah,
Yes, yeah, McCartney. Actually, funny you say McCartney because I've been listening to McCartney records and Wing records from the '70s. It's interesting. He was kind of proggy, like he was kind of experimental. People
Band
forget
on the Run is a Prague. That's a
that's a
Prague
sweet
song.
dude. 1984.
No, Band on the Run goes way back for.
Well,
Band on the Run is like,
no, no, but have you listened to 1984 on the Band on the Run album?
oh, the song. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
dude, no,
yeah.
dude, what a freaking.
Oh
And
yeah.
without going tangent here, we could have a whole McCartney episode, but
Well, thank you, Paul McCartney, for getting the bug in Rush's ear. Imagine that. Paul McCartney,
oh,
of all
dude,
people.
and by the way, wait a minute, pause. Speaking of Sir Paul, you're right. That's the reason why they're touring again. I never even thought
Yeah.
of that. I'm just thinking about the
It's-
Beatles' influence and like the Beatles themselves, and we'll talk about it in our proggy episodes because I'll go crazy because I consider myself like a Beatles, like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
you're the Black Sabbath scholar. We got Silky Joe as the Led Zeppelin scholar, and
Yeah.
I cut my teeth with Genesis, as you know, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
the Beatles and like anything related to the Beatles. But yeah, that's actually fascinating. Shout out to
Of
Sir.
all people, yeah. He would, but, so if you were to guess, how many albums do you think Rush sold in total over the years?
Hmm, let me go number 50 million.
Close, 40 million copies.
40 million.
And
Wow.
not a lot of bands could say that. And this is before all the streaming and all the, this is like the new stuff. This is back when a band played live, got in a van, toured the world. Dude, they did like 220 dates every year, promoted an album, and that's why they got the fan base. 40 million albums worldwide. Now, I found this interesting too. Um, what do you think is the number one selling album from Rush?
Number one, Tom Sawyer. Hold on, give me two guesses. Tom Sawyer.
Yep, number one album, Moving Pictures,
Yeah.
5 million. Okay.
Right. Right.
Now this gets crazy. What do you think the number two selling album by Rush is?
Signals.
2112.
Okay, that's fascinating.
What's the connection? It is a Prague album. a Prague album now, and it sold and it's number two, and it sold 3 million. What do you think the highest third album is by Rush?
Signals.
Farewells to Kings, and it's
That
a Prague album. It's proggy as hell, and
yeah,
it sold
that's
3 million. What do you think the fourth selling album by Rush is?
hemispheres.
Permanent Waves,
Oh, so they're classic stuff. You got those.
1.4 million, and then the fifth one, which is one of our favorite albums, like that from the 80s. I'll give you a hint. It's not Moving Pictures, obviously.
Break under pressure.
Yep, and that sold 1.2 million. So the
Wow,
ones that beat it are the Prague albums, the
that's
musicianship
fascinating.
albums. That's why Prague is so important for Rush, because Rush is ultimately a Prague band.
Well, yeah, dude,
Um,
I feel like Rush, even though they're fascinating because in the 80s, and we're going to talk about that coming up, we have a bunch of Rush episodes. Go watch our Rush episodes. But
yeah.
they, in a sense, embrace pop conventions, but they cut their teeth in the progressive arena. And like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in America, I'll be honest with you, they kind of they had a prog revival for a little bit with 2112.
Oh,
That
Rush started it. We're gonna get into all that, how Rush started it. And I really, and there's many other bands too, but Rush was in the top two that saved Prague. Um, so those are just some, you know, important facts. And I don't know if I sent this to you, but I'm gonna try to be nice, and I'm not gonna say the F word. But did I send you that Don Henley video?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm an Eagles fan. Always have been.
Dude,
I love Joe Walsh.
well, as an
Love the
aside,
Eagles.
I will say as an aside, I mean the Eagles, it's kind of funny. They're also hated. Like, no offense, Don Henley. Like I was watching. Do you know that guy on YouTube? I forgot his name. The classic album reviewer. He's British.
Oh, you the guy with the bald head?
Oh, he loves his prog. Like
Oh, I love that guy. Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love, shout out. I forgot his name, but
I
he's
love his humor too. He's really funny.
dude.
He's got that English wit.
It's great. And he said kind of like the Eagles suck. All right. And I could kind of see that. So for Don Henley to be talking, I'm like, come on.
Well, first of all, Don Henley, of all people, like you're the furthest thing in the world from Rush. Like, number one, you should never talk bad about another band. And why are you saying yuck that Rush is going out on tour? I mean, you should be happy for them. Eagles went on tour a million times and played the same old songs. Now it's Rush is going out there to play amazing songs. And not that the Eagles suck, but like they are I wouldn't want to see the Eagles in concert now. Put you to sleep, you
Dude.
know?
And honestly, I mean, look, they have good albums.
Oh, they have
I
great
mean,
songs.
dude,
I
their
love
concept album, Hotel California, even though many people have kind of pointed out the flaws, and I can see that. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't know why he's definitely should not be speaking because his band is not really well liked. I mean,
And Geddy Lee had a comeback. He kind of was like, I think he said like fuck off or something like that. You know what I mean? To Don Henley. And so now I think there's going to be a diss track on the new
oh
Russ.
man, get ready. There's gonna be a prog diss track coming
We
up.
have Prague diss track coming out. Fuck Don Henley, and Drake's gonna be a cameo on it. I heard, you know, so it's gonna be good. But anyway, I think it's not nice of Don Henley to talk trash about the greatest band in the galaxy, because Rush would never talk trash about any band. They never have.
No.
They're gentlemen. They're classy.
And it's fascinating to see who they toured with, like with the likes of like Kiss,
Oh
UFO,
yeah.
like
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
they're good sportsmen, or good
They
musicians.
are. They are. Um, so let me jump into this. So I'm just going to give basic facts, and you could always go to any of our videos to get this. But Rush is considered one of the greatest bands because of their exceptional musicianship, complex compositions, and thought-provoking lyrics. All three members are highly skilled on their instruments. Neil Peart is one of the greatest rock drummers and lyricists of all times. Progressive rock turned into prog metal.
Mm.
They pioneered this. They pushed the boundaries of progressive rock with complex song structures, intricate arrangements, and odd time signatures. And they kind of invented prog metal,
Oh,
where,
well, it's been argued that well, if it's not for King Crimson, or maybe Jethro Tull, maybe, but
yeah,
Rush, as far as I know, and I know you know this in my research, they're considered the founders of prog metal.
yeah. I mean, Crimson definitely are
You know what's
the
funny, but you know what's funny with Crimson? They got more jazzier, like
yeah, they're like,
far from, dude, far from metal. Like,
yeah. Well, like 21st century skits was total and like the historic prog metal or red. If you get an out, red is definitely, John Wetton and Bill Bruford and Fripp. That's probably the first like beginnings of prog metal, 1974, and then Rush took it to the next level and invented a genre that Queensryche, Fates Warning, and Dream Theater, especially Dream Theater, took it on Images and Words to the next level. There's another band called Watchtower, Lethal Annihilator. All
there's
these
another one
prog.
from the '90s called Tool. It's pretty popular as well.
Oh, I can't forget Tool. They were so different. They were just a diff. They had a because their singer was so unique. Um, so okay, diverse styles. They were into hard rock, jazz, classical. You hear on Farewell to Kings. They innovated the synthesizers in the Moog, the Moog sound
Mm.
that you heard on Tom Sawyer. And the guitar and bass drives the whole sound of that band. It's a guitar bass driven band with bombastic drums. And they brought back the concept album at a time when the prog rock bands stopped doing concept albums. 1976, I don't think Genesis was doing a concept album. ELP had put out, I think, Works, and Yes was doing Going for the One. So there were no concept albums out there. And 2112
I think
comes
the
out,
only one that was technically out there was Pink Floyd's The Animals.
and that's 76.
Not 76, but around that. Like it
No,
was.
we debate about Pink Floyd. Like that's the thing. Like they get thrown into the prog rock universe. Yes, they have proggy elements, but there's such a great commercial radio, and I mean radio friendly rock band that yeah, there's prog elements, but I don't consider them like they're more psychedelic. Even Middletown Dreams got in on this, I think they're more psychedelic than proggy because they're not boombastic drums. I don't know why I'm using that. I read that today, so boombastic is in my head.
Oh, well,
You know,
bombast. Well, you know what's funny?
bombastic.
That's a great point because, and I'm another. If anything, I love Pink Floyd. For maybe we'll have a Pink Floyd episode in the
Oh,
future.
Gato, yeah, definitely.
I've been listening to Dark Side of the Moon. Oh,
Classic. That's amazing. All right. Another underrated bass player. You never hear people talk about it. Now you do on reels and stuff because of the world we live in. But back in the day, Roger Waters was not considered a Geezer, a Getty, a Chris Squire, a John
well,
Paul Jones.
but you know what's funny about that? Even David Gilmour, like, dude,
Yeah.
the name Pink Floyd eclipsed them all. And even Roger Waters joked about this in the "Wish You Were Here" album on the song "Have a Cigar," where the guy, the record exec, says, "Okay, by
Yeah.
the way, which one's Pink?" Like, dude,
Yeah.
that's the strange thing about Pink Floyd, and I agree with you. The problem is, and I can't wait to talk about this maybe in a future Pink Floyd episode. They grew up in, or they cut their teeth in the weird psychedelic, acid rock scene, which is
I,
very
I,
sometimes
I, cons-
avant-garde.
I consider that prog. Sid Barrett, the Piper at the Gates album. That's
Yeah,
prog. That's that.
no,
That's
no, no.
that. That's
It
oh,
is.
yeah.
It is. It's like it's very artsy. Now, if anyone listens to the Piper at the Gates of Dawn, um, it's weird. It's a challenging listen.
Yeah.
It is. It's interesting because it's a timestamp of the 1960s acid rock movement. That
Hmm.
also because you could argue Jimi Hendrix was a little proggy, especially on Electric Ladyland, because
Yeah.
it's getting into acid blues rock with some
Yeah.
elements. And then what ended up happening with which just to jump ahead to Dark Side, they were building to Dark Side. Like on Metal, I think it's Metal. I think it's Metal, the album. Um, you heard already elements of what they're gonna do on you know the song Echoes, the 22 minute, like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
that was the beginning, and then for some odd reason the stars aligned and literally the galaxy because they put the
Yeah.
they kind of um and I think Rush were listening very closely to Pink Floyd,
Oh,
obviously.
definitely. They definitely were.
But it's fascinating. But yeah, but then I always considered them as like the Led Zeppelin of their kind of rock, where, dude, first of all, they actually look pretty cool on stage.
Oh, they did.
They
Yeah.
look masculine. You talk about Roger Waters when you see him pick that bass,
Oh
like,
my God.
dude, David Gilmour, dude was like great,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's ripping on that Strat. And
Mhm.
I love how you mentioned Nick Mason. His drumming is strange. It's not bombastic, but it's like the Ringo Starr.
He is. That's a good analogy.
It's and
Yeah.
by the way, oh, and rest in peace.
Like the beginning of time, those fills that he does with the
Yes,
like the delay on it. That's genius. That's amazing. You
yeah,
know.
great. He knows like he knows what how to drum for the song, and
Exactly.
you know when he hears drumming, you know it. And Richard Wright, um, Richard Wright, come on,
Yeah.
his harmonies with David Gilmour, his he brought
Oh yeah.
he was the prog maybe the proggiest.
Yeah. Yeah.
He bores the keys and he was a master. But yeah, it's interesting. Pink, I don't know, like they're kind of like blues rock too in a way.
In a way, they're all over the place. And I think like going back to the Sid Barrett era, just doing my research on the origins of prog rock, there might have been a Canterbury scene influence on that avant-garde sound that those bands like Caravan from that era and Egg. I sent you their videos from the Canterbury scene. They were avant-garde. They might have inspired early Pink Floyd. That was
Oh,
going on in England at that time.
no, no, 100%. There was a London art scene, and Sid Barrett, who was an art student, right? It's kind of funny because Sid Barrett led the band. Like he was, and it's funny, the rest of the band followed him and looked up to him.
Yeah,
He lost his mind because of his,
so sad.
because of his LSD, trips and
Yeah.
overdoses. Pink struggled to find their identity, which is kind of
Well,
fascinating. And then, again, the stars aligned and Dark Side came into being. They were Abbey Road Studio, and for some odd reason, Dark Side was recorded. And
classic album.
and it's strange because it's actually pretty accessible. Like it's not like a prog rock album where, like Moog is all over the place,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
and by the way, Money is one of the most catchiest songs. I mean,
And it's odd meter when you
which is
think of that
weird.
boom, boom,
That's
boom,
where they're a little
boom.
prog. But
Yeah.
even then, it sounds like a blues meter. Like you
Well, oh no, it's a 12 bar blues money. That's all it is. But it's in 6/4. That bass line is a 6/4. For you music heads, that's pretty hard to play because everything is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're adding two more bars to that. It's like a bar of four and a bar of 2/4 over that. So yeah, they definitely had their proggy elements. And I got the keyboard line in my head to have a cigar. I fucking love that. Oh
Oh,
my
dude,
God.
I know. And by the way, and the vocals on that song is not anybody from Pink Floyd. It was Roy Harper, I think. I could be wrong.
Really?
Dude, that's not no. Because the legend goes that I think it was Waters who tried to sing it. He didn't like it. And so they were like, And then Roy Harper, and I think it's Roy Harper, and I'll probably hopefully I'm right. He was in the studio and he decided to have a try and they actually liked it. I was like, yeah, he has that biting,
Never
cynical
knew that.
tone. Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Who sang it live?
I think obviously Waters if they did it.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they did. I'm not sure if they ever done it live though. I'm not
You
sure.
know who did a hell of a cover of that? Have a Cigar is the Foo Fighters. Oh my God.
I can see that.
You know. So where were we? So concept albums. Rush brought back the concept album I'm gonna say starting with Caress of Steel in
I agree.
1975.
Now, by the way, a lot of people wonder. I have my own personal theory. A lot of people say that that album was not successful. And in a way, yes, I could see why.
Yeah.
The weird part is that they released that album the moment, and by the way, you gotta, I always say you gotta think about the context. Canadians
Yeah. Yeah.
releasing this album called Crest of Steel. Now, it has some songs like Bastille Day,
Yeah.
Lakeside Park, which are pretty accessible. Lakeside Park,
Yeah. 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 Radio friendly songs. Yeah.
but somebody, even though it's kind of funny song, but somebody cut my hair. Or, I'm balding. I'm balding.
Yeah. I think I'm going bald.
I'm going bald.
Phantom of Lammuth, like
What I'm trying to say is like, so sadly, when they release this in America, that's a no-go because the music scene was changing as we talked about in our soft rock episode. And
yeah.
no offense, Americans, this is my opinion, no disrespect. Well, I consider myself American, but at that time, um, the sounds of you got to think about it. I don't know if it was popular in England, but
Yeah.
most likely not because they don't like. I don't think they like Canadians or Americans, but they they release this, and of course it's not going to sell because if you look at the top, sounds and albums
Yeah.
of the time, there's no way. What's
Yeah.
odd is what happens with 2112, where they decided to stick with their Ayn Rand philosophy,
Yeah.
stick to their decision for free will and creativity, and they were like, F it. We are gonna make a prog rock album, 20-minute song.
Yeah. And they made the greatest prog rock album of
And
all
it turns
time.
out they do, which is odd. And then it makes me wonder why was this successful? And I love what you said because that's technically one of the last um one, and mind you, they're going to release Farewell to Kings.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're on a roll for the
Oh,
next three
well, when
years.
you're saying the last of the Prague, is because again, Prague at this point was, and Pink Floyd. It's funny they released Animals. In Britain, the scene was changing.
The
Punk.
Lamb Lays Down on Broadway was
That
1974.
was at the end, yeah. And
Yeah.
the Lamb was successful for Genesis standards,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it wasn't that successful though. Um, not to the point of like a Pink Floyd or,
But
but
it's like the last real prog
double and by
album.
double
I
album.
mean, I mean Emerson, Lake and Palmer in '74. They I forget, oh, was it what was after Trilogy? I forget the album in '74, but they didn't record works to '77. So like they put some stuff out in '74. They were keeping prog going. Yes had just done Tales of Topographic Oceans, so that was kind of
Which
that was
itself was challenging. Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
that music I have to still listen to it. I mean, but that music is prog to the
Well,
max.
yeah.
But you know what's funny with
Prague
Rush? And
Prague was out there in '74, but Rush, was just learning about making a prog album. They went from Fly By Night, which was a mix of
yeah,
more great songs, and then Vitor and the Snow Dog, which
no,
was the proggiest.
no, and they found their groove because, and again, that's one of the reasons why they're the greatest because what they did was they had a prog revival, right?
Yeah.
And then they continued it with, um, in my opinion, one of the greatest Xanadu on Farewell to Kings.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a prog rock masterpiece, and I think it just transcends their music and the form. And then it concludes with Hemispheres. But
Mhm.
by Hemispheres, the band was broken. Hemispheres broke them. Like they couldn't.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? We don't want to do prog rock
They
anymore.
were, they went to Wales, La Villa Stringato. I would say it wrong. I think they did that like
Strangata,
15
Strangata.
in Spanish, right? You say, I know
I
when
think
you
it's
say it.
Strangata, but
Yeah.
yeah. Strange.
And they did that like 12 times. But it's funny. It was in the movie, the Rush movie. They Kiss Alive was about to come out, and they were just on tour with Kiss or Just to Kill, and they were all excited. They were like 22 years old. They had the biggest rock star in the world in the limousine with them, Paul Stanley. They're like, "Hey, Paul, this is our new album," and they played it, and he was like, "Huh?" He didn't get Caress of Steel.
That's funny. You went back in time because that's the problem. Because Americans, it's funny. American rock and roll is a little bit different.
Yeah,
There's some, and we'll talk about it in our prog rock episode with Styx in Kansas.
yeah.
But dude, that wasn't Americans didn't want that, and not to mention that disco was on getting on the rise, and
Hmm.
also soft rock. which
Yeah, soft rock was blowing up in '74.
the sunny California, the Californian scene.
Yeah, from
And
74 to like 1980, your Christopher Cross and all that stuff, it blew up, Carole
Mhm.
King, Tapestry came out around that, maybe a little bit before 74, you
Well,
know.
and that's why Rush. It's funny because and when Rush started with their self-titled debut, it's fascinating because they actually were trying to get the sound of the time, which was Led Zeppelin inspired,
Oh yeah, yeah. And they
succeeded
did it. They did it.
and
But they
succeeded.
Rushified it. They made it their own
They
thing.
Rushified it, and they if anything, they really heavy. The riffs are dirty. It kind of sounds like a dirtier Led
And
Zeppelin.
and the craziest thing, the most popular Rush song next to Tom Sawyer is
Working,
Working
working
Man.
man.
They play that at baseball games. Like,
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
and people aren't going to break out with Free Will when they go to bat.
No,
They're
no.
going to play Working Man and Tom Sawyer. And Working Man is really, it's Rush at their beginning stages of becoming Rush. And I love John Rutsey. You know that, and I love the first album, and it's always funny, and I disagree with a lot of people when they say, well, Rush was Rush before the new drummer. They had John Rutsey. Yeah, they had John Rutsey, and they said Rush even was Rush before Geddy was in the band. And I say no, Rush was Rush with John Rutsey and Neil Peart, and now it's another chapter. I don't know, it's still Rush, but we're going to see where it's going to go. But from Rutsey to Neil, that's Rush, and now with Anika, you gotta consider it as another chapter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great point. That's a great point. And it's crazy because then on Fly By Night, and again, it's crazy because this is why they're the greatest because with Neil Peart coming in, new chapter, and
yeah.
it's because Fly By Night though has some accessible songs. It's just that they now sound like Rush.
Well, Fly By Night should have been the number one song in the world when it came out.
I think so.
In the end, is should have been right up there. Anthem is where they get proggy. You
Mhm.
know, Anthem is about the Ayn Rand book. Uh, what's the other one? I'm trying to remember.
Vitor, the
Well,
little
no,
mini.
well, Baitor and the Snow Dog gets really, really proggy, but on side two, there's some mellow songs. They get a little bit. The Best I Can. Best I Can is a great rock and roll song. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's just a great rock and roll song. Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na, it's almost like a Bruce Springsteen kind of riff,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But so let me just move forward. Okay. Number six about Rush. Lyrics, philosophical, literary, themes of science fiction, fantasy, and individualism. Did I miss anything? Right? Yeah.
That's one of my favorite reasons why. I mean, just we talked about it on our Farewell of the Kings episode, but dude, first of all, just Xanadu. I mean, uh, dude, like if you put that song on and if you're not moved, you
Oh, there's
have
something wrong with you.
there's
Something wrong
something
with you.
just dude. And when you realize that that song was based on the poem, I think that was written by Coleridge
Samuel Coleridge. Yeah.
on Kubla Khan, and
Yeah.
then the song itself has like spiritual and like mythic and religious like undertones.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And then songs like Free Will, that just in the song, which by the way, Free Will,
Yeah.
even though technically it is proggy, but it's actually pretty catchy. They talk about that philosophical problem of free will. Like,
Yeah.
what exactly is it? And they kind of sing, well, you can choose to believe in chance, you can choose to believe in a God or you can or they even say like a lotus, you know.
Yeah.
But the song asserts itself, I will choose free will. Like I choose the ability to choose. And again, for our viewers out there, I know your head is probably hurting. Like, why do we care about this? Well, I'll be honest with you, that's a philosophical discussion, but right
No,
there.
Rush is giving you thought-provoking lyrics. They're not up there singing about a girl shaking her ass and
Well,
hooking up with her.
that's the thing because you have songs about Shake Your Moneymaker, and then
Yeah.
meanwhile Rush. And again, I get it. Like I feel I'm 32, and there I get it. Rock music did start out as a euphemism for, like,
Of course, yeah.
I get it.
Chuck Berry, Little Richard,
And the blues people have me knocking because they're like, my woman left me dead. Like,
yeah.
it's all about, like, oh,
Buka White, shake 'em on down. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff.
or even like the original singer of I forgot her name. Elvis made it popular. You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But Prague, and actually going to talk about that in our Prague episode. Rush, what they did, and the reason why they're the greatest is because of what. And by the way, shout out to Neil Peart because this is all the professor stuff. He started to talk about philosophy in
yeah,
lyrics. And by the
yeah,
way, we talked about this in the song 2112. This is an epic, opera about, freedom, and we
yeah,
discussed that it kind of quotes the Gospel of John, which
yeah.
is odd.
It,
I don't
it,
know if
it really does. I think we found that. We discovered that in our Jesus Christ Superstar.
John chapter 21 verse 12, right?
Yeah, 2112. We discovered that in Jesus Christ Superstar episode.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's picked that up. Now, it could be a coincidence because I don't think Rush are religious guys. Like there
Gnostic.
were certain bands like Wishbone Ash, like Martin Turner, who would read the Bible and write about it. But maybe Neil did read the Bible and took a little section of that. But
Well,
it could be a coincidence too, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. It's thought provoking because when we were discussing Jesus Christ Superstar, we got to the song where Jesus is pretty much angered at the money changers in the temple
Yeah.
and mad at the priests. And what is 21 all about? The
Ex-
priest. And bro,
exactly.
you,
There's
and I
definitely,
know you deal with the priests and it's crazy because these priests, the supposed holy men that holier than thou, and they know what's good for you
yeah, yeah,
says you are cheating the people. And in the story of 2112, a poor person, and this is fascinating, our character believes in the priest. And then he's so innocent. He finds a guitar. He's like, guys, look at this. Like, and the priest say, put that. They end up destroying it.
yeah,
No, no. And again, our protagonist is so heartbroken by it that, he ends up
yeah,
committing suicide. But yeah, there's like that weird religious connection, which is fascinating. But again, only Rush can do this. Like
yeah,
not only philosophy, but also, and we talked about this, the nature of free will, creativity, and and the song "Spirit of the Radio." I think at the temple, I
mm,
was like, "Cheech," I think you were doing your thing. I was like, "Cheech," um, it's really about a question of your honesty. Like
yeah. I
making
know.
a lot of music and the Getty is singing. And at first you're like, this is weird. What is he talking about? But he's
Yeah,
talking about your creative integrity because um if you got to figure out like why do people make music, right?
yeah,
And I love
yeah.
what the title of that song is, The Spirit of the Radio, because at that time the radio was life.
It was everything.
And it was immortalized in the song by Queen Radio Gaga, where
Yeah,
by the way, MTV in a few years are gonna destroy them. I think we're gonna
right.
have an MTV episode coming out soon too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rush were ahead of the game, like Neil Peart, not even Getty, because I love Getty, but he ain't no lyricist like Peart.
No, no.
Um, Neil says in the song, like the concert halls and a lot of musicians are gonna sell out. So Rush were
Yeah,
actually ahead of the game, where they were saying, all this machinery making modern music, right? There's nothing wrong with it, and we know that. And another reason why they're the greatest because they'll end up embracing it, but their
yeah,
integrity is intact. Like
yeah,
because when the MTV era comes out, what happens? Most bands and musicians and artists, what do they want to do? They just want to make videos and they lose
yeah.
themselves, and the
They-
music
they-
sucks.
they- it- it's all about image in the 80s, you know. Madonna had some great songs, but you want to look at her, you know. Debbie Gibson was a cute girl from Long Island. You want to look at her. Songs were like, okay, you know. I mean, and another thing about Rush, they made a kid in eighth or ninth grade who was not in honors, not in regents, want to go to the library and read the Kubla Khan. And then I became an experiment to these people. Like, So you learned about this because you're not going to learn this, and you're not even going to ever get to the Fountainhead. I would never get there at the level I was in English, you know. But you want Anthem, and you want Poetry by Coleridge, which is the heaviest shit in the world to read. Like they would probably have trouble reading it, and a band from Canada has inspired you to do this. I was the freak. I was an alien. Like, let's study his brain. And I made the copies of the songs, and I said, here, listen. And they were like, this is just madness. They couldn't believe it. You know, so they inspired so many people. Neil inspired so many people lyrically, you know. And here's another thing going back to AM Gold, 2112, greatest prog rock album of all time, right? There's a song on there called Tears. It's an AM Gold song.
Yeah, dude, that album, dude, it kind of sounds like, no, and it's funny. They also have other songs that sound like Steely Dan, which is weird.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, Rush are interesting because they were, dude, they're masters. I mean, they're able to, and it's sad because side two of 2112, I feel like there could have been a lot of hits.
Oh, something for nothing. Oh my God. Like that.
Even passage to Bangkok. I feel
Oh,
like
they
that could
open
have
up
been
with
that.
that. That could have been a hit, you know. And then Twilight Zone. I mean, side two was just as good as side one. If you know what I mean? Like, you have the greatest prog rock album on side one, the greatest concept borrowed from Ayn Rand, ideally, and then you have a AM Gold, like a John Denver, James Taylor song. They James Taylor could have sang Tears. Carol
Yeah.
King could have sang that.
Dude,
How could you have an AM Gold song? This is a genius. AM Gold on one side and the most proggiest shit on the other side. Genius band. That's why Rush is the greatest band in the galaxy. No band has ever done that. No band has gone from real heavy to this, you know, poppy AM Gold song. And I wonder why Something for Nothing or Passage to Bangkok never hit American radio. They're genius songs. You know. There had to be a reason in 76. They were looking more for that corporate sound. They were
mhm.
looking more for Boston, and they were looking for Kiss and Rush. Rush was not played on the radio, by the way, at this point in 76.
And that's
So
important. And that's important to highlight because technically they don't until maybe Spirit of the Radio, but I would
no,
say
no, Closer to the Heart. They had complete freedom on the next album, and then they said, well, let's, or maybe they didn't plan it. Maybe they just wrote Closer to the Heart, and that became a huge hit. That became a huge hit. Fly By Night was a little bit a minor hit at the time, but Closer to the Heart got them to play
and Closer to
bigger
the Heart
theaters.
is so 70s sounding like pop. It's
Yeah,
weird. And that same album you have Cygnus and then Xanadu. And then
yeah.
you have their hard stuff like Farewell to Kings. Yeah, I
Cinderella
mean,
Man,
Development, like that. Yeah, it's fascinating how Rush has these two kind of sides. Like they have
Yeah.
some, like a lot of people say, oh, they're only about prog stuff. I'm like, no.
No, they're about songwriting too. Um, so anything else you want to add? Because that was all
No.
great stuff. Um, so their lyrics and their concepts add the depth layer to the music. Obviously, we just spoke about that. Consistency and longevity. They had the same lineup from 1974 when Neil joined after John Rutsey left to 2014, 15. They never changed. They never added. You can't say that about any. I don't think you could say that about any band. Could think of a band. There's always somebody who leaves and goes. Right? Rush was consistent, best friends. Always they had arguments, and they would, Alex got mad in the 80s. He wanted less synth, and Geddy got nuts with the synths, but they had a way to make it all work and make everybody happy. And then we can't forget point nine, the dedicated fan base. Their fans like us are loyal. And a true Rush fan will change when Rush changes. So if Rush is going from the 70s Rush into the 80s, and they're going to use synthesizers on power windows, and you're not a fan of that, you're not a true diehard Rush fan. You're like, this album, I'll skip this one. No, I never did. I loved it. There's not a bad Rush album ever made, ever. And I said, okay, yeah, not a huge fan of the synths, but shit, Big Money rocks, man. That's a great fucking song. Mystic Rhythms is a great song. So, and Grace Under Pressure, you know. Uh,
And time stands still.
yeah, just an early warning. So they made great songs, and then in the '90s they changed. And I'm going to get into that. I don't want to jump ahead, but a true Rush fan will change with Rush, and every Rush fan did. Getty says this in interviews. They will change with them. And some of them might leave, but they're going to come back. They're always going to come back. You know, you might have left on Grace Under Pressure, but I sure as hell you came back on Presto.
Hmm.
You know. And then point 10, professionalism. This band gave 100% blood, sweat, and tears every performance. They gave you the best live show. I saw them many times. It was like a CD was playing. You're like, this is fake. This isn't real. Three human beings cannot be this good, but it was real, you know. And all three of them were dedicated to being master musicians, and you gotta love that. Not all bands are like that. You know, some bands faded as time went on. They weren't as good on their instruments, or they didn't play as busy, or they were more focused on the songs, or the albums got weaker, or they didn't give 100% when they performed. It still goes on now, you know. We won't mention those bands, but we've sent each other videos of them that
Oh
are.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We could mention if you want. I don't know. I mean, I love the
Wait, wait.
Scorpions. I love the Scorpions, but I feel sad. I feel sad watching the Scorpions, man.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. And actually, before we go there, though, I do agree with you. Rush are like Springsteen, dude. Their live shows are
Yeah,
legendary. They're known for faithfully reproducing what they captured in the studio live, which at
that's a
first,
great point.
oh,
It's
and
great.
at first, a lot of fans, or not even fans, but a lot of critics say, I thought live music is supposed to be a little more
Yeah.
improvising. But the thing is, that's a talent into itself because, and
Oh yeah.
so technically, like a fan can go appreciate the music on CD, streaming or whatever, and then you know go live and see the band and hear the music like actually played like the on the record. I feel
And
like
Rush never improvised. They never got. They did a little bit. They would dabble a little bit in some songs, but they weren't like the Grateful Dead, where they're gonna do like one song that's 50 minutes long.
well, what's funny, like I feel like there's a time and place for that. Like
Yeah.
um now, but Rush, I don't know, like they're
But no prog rock band did that. You couldn't do that. You couldn't get away from the song. Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and Sabbath. Have you ever heard I think it's Live at Last by Black Sabbath?
Mhm.
They fucking jam. They take like certain songs, into the void, and they'll play it for like 25 minutes. So that was a thing in the early 70s, but by the time Rush came around, they didn't do that. So now we'll jump into Rush in the 70s. Now, a lot of people might disagree, but I know we agree. But I think we got a valid point here. In 1976, Rush reinvented prog rock. They turned it into prog metal. They
Mhm.
kept prog rock alive in the mid 70s because prog rock was over. Some could say 1974, some could say 1976. We'll debate that in the episode. Rush saved it, and they invented prog hard rock metal with 2112 and Caress of Steel, which paved the way for bands like Queensryche, Dream Theater, Fates Warning, Tool, Annihilator, Watchtower, all these Lethal, all these great prog bands. That there was a nice movement from 1986 when Operation Mindcrime came out all the way up to Fates Warning, which is still making proggy music. So, and then Dream Theater, which, the kings of prog rock, prog metal. So we'll talk a little bit about, I'm going to briefly talk about prog rock. So 1969 to 1976. So who was the first prog rock band you think to come out? And we talked about this earlier.
Crimson or Moody Blues.
No, 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 that would be prehistoric. Like,
Oh no, we should say that for the prog rock episode though.
but no, but just who do you think was the first prog rock? Who did it?
The Beatles, Sgt. Pepper.
No, no, King Crimson.
Yeah, I said Crimson.
Oh, you did. Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
didn't. I
no,
didn't.
that's oh yeah, dude. Oh, King Crimson, yeah,
Yes. So
and
King Crimson was the first prog rock band in '69. The Court of the Crimson.
in the court of
Um,
the Crimson King.
the,
No, in the court of the
in the Court of the. Oh God, I got this wrong. What was it? What is it called? I can't read my handwriting. In the Court of the
court of the
Crimson
Crimson
King.
King. King Crimson.
Court of the Crimson King. Followed by Yes, Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull, you know, and ELP, Genesis. So it all died out by 76 and they took it over. You know, the glory days of prog rock ended and Rush reinvented it. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I agree.
From 76 till about I mean up until, probably Permanent Waves. You got Natural Science, which is still proggy. Moving Pictures is not all proggy, but YYZ is proggy as fuck. There's a lot of elements of prog in it. So anything to add on that?
Well, I'll have more in the prog rock episode on that.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. You're right. I don't want to give it away too much. And then what helped, like what destroyed, like marathon jams and stuff, and put like 2112 Farewell to Kings Hemispheres. What made that popular was disco and punk destroyed prog rock.
Yeah, yeah. There's no
That
doubt
was.
about that. Yeah, especially punk.
Yeah. And Rush kept it going. They weren't scared of Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten. They just kept doing what they were doing. So now it now comes along in the 80s. So what do you think changed from the 80s to make Rush different?
Either Machines or MTV.
You're right on the machines. Analog to digital.
Mhm.
Everything was analog and then now things are digital, the digital men. Um so they started to get into sounds. They were using the sounds of the 80s. They incorporated technology. Not a lot of bands did that successfully. Rush did that. They innovated synths, new producers. They used 80 productions, and they had some great sounding albums. Moving Pictures, Power Windows, Grace Under Pressure. They knew the 80s technology would make their sound bigger, and it did right away. And of course, and like you said, MTV came out, and that made them even a bigger band. Now, yes, and Genesis did that, but just give me your opinions on what you think happened to Yes and Genesis.
Yeah, the problem is like they, and also you can argue like Jefferson Starship.
Oh yeah,
We know, and it's actually funny as a shout out to our Bruce Springsteen episode.
yeah,
Bruce Springsteen, I read his autobiography audiobook, which I recommend. He says before the 80s, he had total control of the band, to what they had to wear, their
right,
style.
yeah,
If you look at 1970s Bruce Springsteen, I'm saying this 'cause I'm making a point here. They kind of look like, they wore great outfits,
yeah,
suits, well dressed. When the 80s rolled around, Springsteen said, "You know what, guys, wear whatever." And
yeah.
and the 80s cheese was in full swing. And to this day, Springsteen was like, "Yeah, I kind of regret that." And I say that because sadly, a lot of the bands embrace the 80s, but if you look at it now, dude, it's not cool.
It's cringe. It's cringe.
It's so, and then yes, for example, like it's funny, their video for Owner of a Lonely Heart is terrible. They're so badly dressed. The dude, I love John Anderson, but
Yeah,
dude, he looks so cringe. Um, Phil Collins. Now, Phil Collins is fascinating.
Yeah. There's
Um,
many different like parts to Phil Collins when you think about it.
yes, yes. First of all, he's one of the greatest drummers for sure.
Oh yeah.
He was in the progressive, and I say this because Rush, and I'm making a point with the bigger point with Rush, but um, Phil Collins in the '80s embraced machines, so a lot of drum machines. So he wasn't drumming anymore. That spacey '80s like atmosphere, digital sound was in full swing, and it's funny because Genesis and Phil Collins. Well, not all Phil Collins, but mostly the Genesis records, like sound quality, they're not as great as the '70s stuff.
No.
I just feel
No, when you mean 70s, like the commercial rock, like No Reply at All, and
Dude, no,
that era.
they don't sound like for example what you hear on Land Lies Down on Broadway.
Oh, the proggy stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
But
then
I think it doesn't even sound as good as like there must be some misunderstanding or no reply at all. The
oh,
80s stuff
Duke
just
is one of the last truly great well, I shouldn't say that. They're all good, but
but
Duke
it doesn't sound like that. You know what I mean? It got that was still analog, and then that digital stuff took it to a that 80s sound, you know?
no, and don't get me wrong, like Phil Collins, he was smart because he exploded. And if anything, MTV, was Phil Collins. But the problem is that that stuff I don't think stood the test of time today. And a lot
Right.
of it was a little cringe.
Oh yeah,
You
a lot of
know,
it was definitely.
yeah. And so, but Rush, what do? They embraced the '80s. They embraced the machines, digital. Now it's going to become reality,
Yeah.
and they create moving pictures. I mean,
Oh, the greatest engineered. We said this many times. The greatest recorded and engineered album, like next to Sergeant Pepper's of all time. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's
And
brilliant.
and they're smart because their videos. I mean, even though it's funny, Rush will end up going really cheesy later on. But before that, they were smart. Their early MTV videos were them playing live.
Oh yeah, and they were great. Even up to they made some good videos like Big
Oh,
Money.
and playing the studio.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a lot of studio stuff. But I think that was just like Don Kirshner, like to be on Don Kirshner, and that might have been right when MTV was coming out. They just said throw a video together. You know what I mean? Like promotional stuff. Because you got Vital Signs, they're La Studio doing that.
No, and it's
Limelight.
crazy. It's crazy because Subdivision technically is their first video, but it's got a
But I always wondered
video.
why wasn't New World Man a video? Such a great fucking song.
That's a great point. That's a I don't know if it was a hit, but
Oh,
uh,
was radio friendly all over.
but it's funny because Subdivisions, they look so 80s. Like, first of all, and I gotta say this because this is just funny to me. But the thing that saved Rush was their music. Like
Oh yeah.
they were able to incorporate, and that's why they're brilliant. Like, even if you don't like their proggy stuff, okay, that's fine. Just listen
Yeah.
to Signals. So much great music. I mean, Tom Sawyer, come on. Most people know that song Tom
Yeah.
Sawyer without knowing Rush.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
Limelight, oh, dude, catchy. Like it's amazing. But
Oh,
it's
definitely.
it's funny because on
Yeah.
Subdivision, if you watch the video shows the worst of the '80s. You have Geddy Lee in this awful outfit. Synthesizers are pretty cool, but again, that was
Yeah.
so '80s, like the synthesizers
Oh, it was the total 80s.
and Getty rocking a mullet, which I'm not judging, but I feel like the mullet doesn't stand the test of time. Al
No.
looks so cringe in this '80s like new wave outfit, and sadly, I mean the professor looks the same. Neil Peart looks the same, but I feel like in the '70s he was cooler. Like I
Oh, Neil Peart looks so. I have a picture of him up on my wall with the goat with the mustache. You know,
I feel like he should have kept that, but I get it. I get it. He looks like in the subdivisions. In Tom Sawyer, he still looks cool. Like it's funny
yeah,
when I first saw him. Like I remember my memory of, obviously because Tom Sawyer, the video, which was just them performing live. That was the video,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
the
yeah.
studio. I saw them and I was watching. I was like a high school Manny here, and I thought they were cool. And I especially
Oh
looked.
yeah.
Alex with his red suit, and then I saw Neil when he was, and then I see this
Yeah, yeah,
like going like that and just playing, and I'm like,
yeah,
fascinating. Like I was like fascinated, but it's
yeah,
funny because then I guess I don't know if Neil lost his sense of style. You know what I mean? Like maybe
yeah.
you
Well,
know
he
what?
always had a cool like he kept his hair long and he kept it in a braid for a while, like a
It's
long
funny
braid.
actually. Neil became kind of cool in 2000s with the nice cap he wore, that cool
Yeah,
cap.
yeah, he looked
He
really
kind of brought
cool.
that style back.
Yeah, yeah.
Sadly, in terms of like the video, Rush, I'll be honest with you, I love their videos though, like especially for Time Stand Still, which mind you, it is so cheesy.
Yeah, it's the late, when you get into the late 80s, that's when things start to get
But
really cringy.
and we talked about this. They're not the only ones. It was just that was the MTV era. And you know
Oh
what's
yeah.
funny? I argue as this little side, Radiohead, I'm sorry, Queen releases Radio Gaga, which I think that's a
Yeah.
bad title for the song, but um it's majestic. It's an ode to the radio. By the way,
Oh yeah,
one
yeah.
kid probably don't even know what the hell is a radio. But
Right.
um the video is so cheesy. It's so bad. Like I feel like videos even affected Bruce Springsteen because in his auto biography he talks about it where he cringes at the dancing in the dark video.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I got up. He's like dancing. He's looking at his,
Yeah.
his oh, that god awful outfit. But that was the MTV era. I
It
mean,
was. But thank God for MTV because if MTV didn't come out, these artists, we wouldn't know them as much. It'd be more radio. So like especially for Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA, but Rush too, like, having moving pictures come out and doing the live video or the ones in the studio and then doing subdivisions leading up to Big Money and then Hold Your Fire, Presto. It really made their careers. MTV made band, it was the new radio. That's all we had. And we watched it religiously when we were kids because no one really listened to the radio that much anymore. It was all MTV. You had VJs instead of DJs. And it made metal. MTV itself, like we said, yeah, you MTV Raps, you had Headbangers Ball, you had 120 minutes, and then you had all the pop videos and stuff. They should have had a Prague hour. That would have been cool.
that would have been cool.
But and
Popular
the
anymore, but
VH1 did something cool. They had VH1 classics, and they
classic.
would
I
play
remember that
the
when
real
I
old stuff.
started. That was
Yeah.
my Bible for rock music.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just give me 1 second and keep.
But yeah, no, but again, but Rush is the greatest because they were able to embrace the 80s. Not so much the videos. I mean, I think if kids saw their videos, they would kind of laugh, especially when they embraced the bad haircuts and outfits. I'm not going
Oh
to.
yeah, Rush even in the 70s weren't the most style. Like they look cool in the 70s, but with the,
Oh,
the Japanese kimono things
I,
and
I thought that was cool. I thought
well,
that,
it was over the top cool. You know what I mean? And I think that's
and when
awesome.
it's funny, that was common for the prog rock because, and again,
Oh yeah,
um, you saw now it's funny because uh uh, bands like let's say Pink Floyd, they did away with that. They were just
yeah. They were just like regular jeans and
they were
t-shirt.
just like masculine dudes, and
Yeah.
Genesis was very
Oh
theater.
God. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
Even yes, to a certain extent with their outfits. Have you ever seen?
They wore capes and things like that. It was
Listen,
cool.
like I remember Giants that had this kind of like cool shirt.
Yeah.
But again, they're not the only ones though. But that was a common thing. And it's funny because I know UFO made fun of them because
Yeah.
then especially the punks, they hated that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They thought, and Kiss were like, and Kiss is funny because but they look weird themselves too. So it's kind of
Yeah.
making fun of Rush. But I remember, I think it was the UFO singer. He would staple or leave slippers on stage for Getty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it does look scary. I feel like if you look at the back of the 2112 album cover,
Oh, I was scared of Geddy Lee when I was a
dude,
little kid.
dude,
Yeah,
he looks like the Wish from Black Sabbath. Like I
yeah,
don't
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. But that was just the style. I had a poster. They were there's makeup. He had some kind of makeup on him at
I
one
think
point.
Alex looks kind of fruity. He looks like he belongs on a soft rock album cover.
Yeah, but yeah, they went through that. And that wasn't them. That was a record label saying, "Hey guys,
Yeah,
work
yeah,
on your
no,
image a little
no.
bit."
and for them at the end is the music.
Oh,
And
always,
again,
always.
the image is hard because um nowadays it's so sad because now it's a
Oh, it's all image.
lot more
But
image.
think about it. When you're a great musician, are you sitting in your room playing your guitar and your bass, or are you worrying about how you look?
Well, sadly,
Eh,
most
eh,
people, artists nowadays, that's the first thing. How do I look? What's the image I'm
Yeah,
giving off? And especially that even though MTV started that, and even
yeah, yeah,
has officially died, officially. Yeah,
yeah.
the Cheech and Manny show, we're calling it. MTV is dead.
Oh, yeah.
Living
Yeah,
in a,
well, yeah.
we're living in the social media TikTok era
Oh,
where
God.
everything has to raise scandal. Everything has to be like trending. So
Yeah.
there are some great music. I mean,
I
and
mean, there's great music, but we're not gonna see it like we would on MTV. There's probably a rush out there, and they're probably in a reel, and you're probably gonna see it, and you're gonna go, "Oh, these guys are really good," and then you're gonna flip it, and then you're gonna go to another video. But I think we were lucky to have two channels, MTV and VH1, and that's what you're locked to. Now with the zillion channels, bands don't have a chance. And now with AI making these bands, it's even scarier, you know? So I think there's too much out there for music.
and again, that's why it's great when and Rush will always be the greatest. I mean, just recently they were put on the map again with their decision to,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and I love that. I love that. I love how, and you mentioned the fans, like I love how enthusiastic they were. Even the introduction of a new drummer, which will present a new chapter, and
Yeah, of course, yeah.
she was embraced. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel again, it's just the excitement of them playing again. They should have always been playing, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that and I love that. Like the fan love they have, the fans love for them.
Rush has the most loyal fans in the world.
I
You
would
know, that's the bottom line. They have the
like,
most loyal
dude,
fans.
there are Grateful Dead fans, there are Kiss fans,
Yeah, yeah,
there are Rush fans. You have your Beatles fans as well that like
yeah,
defend the Beatles to their to their deaths.
yeah.
But yeah, I love that.
Um, so that's the '80s Rush, and thank you, man. You brought up so many great points about the '80s.
Yeah.
You know that made Rush successful. So they're really successful in the '80s. They got all the look, the sound, the synths, all that stuff. What happens to them in the '90s? Well, this grunge music comes out, Nirvana.
Dude, and again, why Rush the Greatest? They're able to survive. And I love how you said, I'll be honest with you, bands they implode. I mean, it's very rare if a band has that longevity, but they
Yeah,
survive the punk acts, and then
yeah,
you have the grunge like chainsaw because grunge came, dude. We talked about this. I know your feelings towards Nirvana. Um, and I hate to admit this. I mean, Nirvana is kind of overrated. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
dude, their music is good.
Oh
It's
yeah, they got some good songs.
it's good. But what's fascinating is that Rush was able to survive. And
Yeah,
instead of, kind of scoffing at grunge, they were like, let's embrace the heaviness. Well,
yeah,
finally, we kind of invented this. Let's just go back to our
yeah.
roots.
And they took the heaviness of Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and a little bit of Pearl Jam, and they came out, with Counterparts, which was a really successful album. And then as the '90s progressed, grunge started to go away, and then they did Test for Echo, and they still survived. And they made, I think they did a live album, and did they do a live album? And then in 1990, because I think no, Presto technically came out in '89. I saw them in '90.
Technically, yeah, it's 89.
So I consider it a '90s album, but it's pre-grunge.
Mhm.
And then they only did two albums, really, Counterparts and Test for Echo, because they did so much touring. They
Yep.
did Counterparts in '94, and they toured like crazy. Then they did Test for Echo. Presto, they toured. Oh, how could we forget? Roll the Bones. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
90s.
I'm
But you know what's
sorry. They
funny?
did three albums.
Roll the Bones is interesting. It embraced the grunge themes. Musically, it's also
Yeah.
fascinating. But I
Well,
feel
Roll
like
the Bones came out right when grunge came out. So there wasn't a lot of grunge yet. It came out in '91. I remember the day that I got it. I heard
But it's
Bravado.
fascinating, but they had themes of death and, like,
Yes.
grunge
Nobody's
is gonna get
hero.
darker, because the thing with grunge music, and actually what's fascinating, because again, Rush was kind of ahead of it. The 80s metal, what there was progressive metal. It was on the rise.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but sadly, Nirvana will like stop that. But to a certain extent, but Dream Theater and Tool and other great bands will continue.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the 80s rock was more about girls,
Mhm.
LA, whatever.
Yeah.
Glam metal got made a return. But Rush instead released Roll the Bones was about chance, stoicism, in confronting and rolling with death.
Right. Right, right.
It's already ahead of it because a lot of the themes in grunge music is dark. Like
Yeah.
I feel like there's not really much positive grunge songs. I
No.
maybe
Pearl Jam was positive, I think a little bit more. Maybe, no? Alive, I'm still alive.
Jeremy about a school shooter. Alive is
No,
about Jeremy meeting his mother who doesn't want him.
really? I don't know. I never
Yeah,
really
dude, Black
studied the
about a
lyrics.
guy who's on the edge of suicide and he
My
tattooed the girl's
God.
name. Yeah, do it.
Really? Oh, okay.
And the song
That's
is
how
like,
much I know about
no,
grunge
by the way, I'm a
lyrics.
huge Pearl Jam fan, especially 10, so I know this stuff.
That's what Black is about? Wow. I never
Dude, dude, and now my better half comes over.
great
Even
bass
Jeremy,
line in that song.
Jeremy's a dark song.
No, Jeremy I know is about the school shooter.
And
is it-
Even Flow is dark.
well, I think that's why I didn't like
But what
grunge
no, I
because
no, dude,
it wasn't happy. It was like
no.
just
And that's the problem because it appeals to like I don't want to name her, but from the temple. Can we give her a code name? The crazy chick, remember?
oh yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
give her
yeah.
a name. Let's give her a nickname. Let's call her. What do you want to call her?
Oh, the vampire. I don't know.
Dude, this vampire was a huge
Yeah,
Staley,
yeah, yeah,
and it's kind of weird because Alice in Chains music is so dark. It's about addiction. I mean, their song "Dirt" is literally people you feel like dirt, like the dirt, and
yeah, yeah,
they have a great. I love the album. But it's definitely sludgy. It's dark. They have one rooster, which makes me, that song scares me because it transports me through the jungles. Right here comes
yeah.
the rooster,
Vietnam, yeah.
and then when he
I,
comes in,
I
screams.
think I think that's why I didn't like it because I came Van Halen,
Oh,
party
forget about it.
songs,
That was
Iron
gone.
Maiden,
Motley Crue, Iron
being
Maiden,
heavy.
that grandiosity, operatic stuff is gone.
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne, especially, he became more theatrical
Well,
and
Ozzy made it too, like Rush. He survived grunge, but he's Ozzy. He's Ozzy, so he
but
can
I
do
feel
that.
like you were more a fan of the 80s stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
it's true.
obviously in the 90s, even though actually Ozzy kind of became grunge too in a way, but um yeah, no, it's dark, and but Getty were already ahead of it because Rush were ahead of it because their album Roller Bones is about death, chance, and then
It's true.
counterparts they take Jungian psychology and
Yes.
return to their roots. They're like, lads, like gentlemen, we kind of invented these genres. I mean, they kind
Yeah.
of invented grunge too, with their
Yeah.
dirty riffs on like albums like Caress of Steel,
Definitely. Yeah.
you know.
It's amazing.
But that's why Rush are genius. They're able to survive and not coincidentally release probably one of the last prog rock albums, the true classic ones, Clockwork Angels in the 2000s.
Yeah, and they ended on a prog rock album, what they're the best at. That's
And
amazing,
philosophical themes of time, which that's a
Exactly.
great concept.
Exactly. But so they made it through the '90s, and like then Test for Echo was a little different. Then
That
unfortunately,
for Echo is them, even they admitted this, like it's their worst album. And it's actually pretty good.
I
I
mean, I
feel
disagree with that, but
No,
like
I
to
disagree. Here's
them,
what
yeah.
I No, the problem is that that was a confusing time in music. I mean,
Uh,
first
yeah.
of all, the rise of hip hop, that became
Hmm.
dominating. Pop, Britney Spears,
Yeah.
Backstreet Boy.
New Kids on the Block or whatever. Yeah.
So
And,
Rush are
like
probably looking at the landscape and like, what do we do?
and grunge is over now. because grunge had a short window.
Grunge had a
It
shit like
wasn't that
punk.
long.
No, bro, it's funny these.
Like Prague, like grunge
Oh,
was like
well,
really
well,
grunge
you're
was
right. You're right.
grunge was going around since 90, 89, Mudhoney and all these bands. And then it broke Nirvana. We coined Nirvana, Cobain. They needed a poster boy, and he was the poster boy of grunge.
Cobain, yes, yes.
And then great, great songwriter, great songs. But then 91, 95, grunge is done. I think he died in 95 or
I
94.
think so. And it became a parody.
When he died, when Cobain died,
Oh yeah,
grunge,
not that
grunge
again.
said,
Yeah, that's considered the death of grunge, even though it's more than that. But
yeah.
it's just that music started to evolve, and like punk, it had a quick I mean not so quick, but definitely like fast rise and then quick downfall.
And
And then
it killed a lot of bands like Maiden. I saw Maiden at the Academy in Birch Hill in New Jersey. Maybe
dude,
maybe
dude,
less than a
and
thousand people.
sadly, a lot of bands, even dude, and I would argue, kind of killed Springsteen, for example. And I'd mention him because
Mm.
90s his records they were good, but he struggled to find, and he
It,
wouldn't get it back until the Rising.
it
Uh,
definitely killed Dylan.
oh, dude, Dylan was over. I ain't gonna look at Maggie's phone.
No,
Or like,
nobody wanted to
oh,
hear Dylan in
imagine
the
if he had like
90s.
a grunge voice. Working on Maggie's farm.
But Neil Young, the father of
Oh,
grunge,
Neil
was
Young had
embraced.
no, but you know what's funny? Neil Young is fascinating. Matter of fact, he's like Rush. He is he's able to read the times, and he had that free will creativity. I'm making the music I want. I don't care if you like
Yeah,
it or not. Turns out, grunge, which he kind of invented,
he invented it. Yeah.
and in the 90s he came out with some of the best records. And ironically, but this is weird, but then he releases Harvest, the sequel to Harvest,
Right, right.
which is totally left field. That's so young, acoustic, and actually has one of his most best songs, Harvest Moon, which is fast. And that whole album is young, sort of. It's in a way sort of like a swan song, a goodbye to
Yeah,
the 70s, and even then with the Crazy Horse, he releases some really heavy albums.
yeah, yeah,
Just crazy how Neil Young, but Canadian. So I don't know if it's a Canadian thing, but
yeah.
able to read the times and
But
adapt.
but but Rush was definitely that band that made it through the 90s, reinvented themselves in the 80s, and then the
Oh,
unfortunate,
Yes didn't survive.
well,
Yes.
Yes did it. I saw an album. Well, Yes was desperate now. Yes is like, what are we gonna do after Big Generator? Like so they did a great album called Union. This is way before grunge, 1990, and it was every single member of Yes. They played on the album, and they did a big tour, great album, and then that was it. You never heard from Yes again. Uh, Crimson always made albums, but nobody cared. Phil Collins was on Superstardom, no
Oh
matter
yeah,
what.
but he really sold out. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't. So it's funny because he's kind of like he's hated. Now I'm not. I love Phil Collins, and
Oh, I love him too.
but we go from. It's so funny because we go from songs like what you hear on Supper's Ready to
Yeah.
she's got the hand and visible touch.
Oh my God.
And don't
Is
get me
it
wrong, that song is great. That song.
Supper's Supper's Ready is
No, get this. No,
the
Cheech, we
most proggiest
no,
rock song
no, Cheech.
ever written,
No, Cheech, we go from and it's hello, babe, with your. I love actually shout out to my dad because he used to sing to us. He used
Yeah.
to sing that song when we were little. And
Um,
hello, babe, with your guardian angel so blue. It's me, my baby. Don't to she's got the hand and
That's a fact. Oh God.
okay.
Studio.
And that's and it has like those like
Oh
those
yeah, it always has
those
that,
drums that I don't think really. And by the way, I love that song, but it's
Yeah,
definitely kind of cringe. I'm not gonna like studio like.
I know. But then he has that one.
Oh, and what about she's an easy lover?
I like that song. It stays in your head with the guy from Earth, Wind and Fire,
Yeah.
the singer. It's a good. It is a good song. Some of the songs were good. And then the classic dun 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 dun
Oh,
dun
yeah,
dun
the
dun dun.
talk
I
about
mean,
yeah.
that's just amazing. The air of tonight or whatever.
But it's
Um,
fascinating because Phil Collins then and I feel like his 90s records weren't that great, and he
I
never
don't. I can't even name any. You know.
I think and the only thing he did was and I actually have to thank Disney's Tarzan because he did the Tarzan soundtrack.
Yeah.
So that's become part of my family's DNA because we grew up on that movie.
Yeah.
And I remember I have this memory where my dad was like, we were watching Tarzan in the living room, and my dad goes like, "Oh, it's Phil Collins." I was like, Phil Collins? Who's Phil Collins?" Genesis. And dad was teaching me prog rock while I was watching Disney's Tarzan. So
That's amazing. I love it.
I
I
had
love
to
that
say,
story.
even though Phil Collins definitely sold, but listen, he wins in the end. He laughs all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah. And then Peter Gabriel had an amazing career in the
Peter Gabriel's another fascinating figure where he stuck to his guns. Um,
yeah
and for example, the albums before by the way, So is a masterpiece, but that's neither
yeah
here nor there. But he definitely is another one where he was able to survive, maintain his artistic creativity, but embrace the machines and the sounds.
yeah.
And yeah, Peter Gabriel's another one. And but he definitely does still continue to do the art.
I actually bought an album by Emerson, Lake and Palmer in 1991. You know, they got back together. You know, and
What was
like it was amazing, but it was that it had that 90s production. You know, but it didn't go anywhere. They just toured, of course. When I went to the concert, they Jason Bonham opened up for him. Believe it or
Again,
not.
at that point, if you weren't dressed like the grunge, it's funny. What's sad was Def Leppard tried to do grunge. It was so bad.
Def
Metallica,
Leppard.
I know a certain somebody, I don't know, I think likes this album, but Metallica embraced grunge. But the problem is, it changed who they were. And
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they never, even though some people argue their later albums are good, I just think they
I don't
never,
think so. I think for me, the Black Album was okay,
it was all right.
and then everything they did after that,
I mean,
Say
when you're singing
Anger.
songs like "Hush, little baby, don't say a word," dude, that's kind of cringe. You go
I
from that to, um, "For whom the bell tolls."
I mean, when you think about Kill 'Em All, and then uh, Injustice for All, Ride the Lightning, and then what's the one I'm missing? Sanitarium is on it. My brain is
Oh,
shutting down.
Master Puppets.
Master of Puppets. So these are the classic greatest albums in heavy metal history. These four albums, you know. And Justice for All was in the epitome of prog rock.
Prog metal.
1988, you know, prog metal. Queensryche Operation Mindcrime, Fate's Warning, No Exit, you know.
Yeah.
And they're jumping on the bandwagon because they see where this is going. They think this is the future, prog metal. It only lasted two to 4 years, you know. Then they're like, got to do a new album. They get
And
Bob
they
Rock.
get Bob Rock. Again, they're smart about it. But what's really odd is that um they released the Black Album at the time. It's kind of weird because it's not really grunge. It's not grunge. It's just it's polished metal. It's hard to describe. Like it's not grunge, but they're smart because they were anticipating that this is gonna die.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
if we
yeah,
continue doing it, we're not gonna find success.
yeah. So after all those albums, and then they do the Black Album, I'm just like, okay, A Wolf and Man is good. Struggle Within is good because it's heavy, but Enter Sandman, I was like, this sucks. I don't want to hear this.
Or
This
or,
isn't
uh,
Metallica.
or what's that other song? And nothing else matters.
Uh, and then you have Maiden putting out great albums like Fear in the Dark. Maiden hung in there with the grunge. You know, their last album with Bruce Dickinson, Fear of the Dark, that was very successful in the States, you know. It was Maiden didn't do they did really bad when Blaze Bailey joined. And I don't mean that in a negative way musically, but attendance. 1996, 97, Maiden could not play big venues because metal was not big in America. Motorhead played Seven Willow Street. Anthrax played Seven Willow Street. Tiny bars in Portchester that hold maybe 800 people. and they're over in Europe playing festivals. So did not do well in this country, metal. But Maiden hung in there with Rush. Metallica could have saved metal, but they didn't. Guns N' Roses has
They
some great,
implode.
great albums, but they just went to hell
They
after that.
imploded. It's
You
funny
know,
they release Use Your Illusions, which is actually, I mean, they had a rocket fueled, meteoric rise, but then they just imploded and couldn't survive the 90s, barely survived.
no, no. So, and then there were, we always talk about the bands that came out in the '90s that saved rock, like your boys, the Strokes, my boys, Buck Cherry. Um,
You know what's funny about the Strokes? The Strokes saved rock in the 2000s.
I keep thinking they came out in the late
90s
'90s.
was Buck Cherry. Later on, this is later.
Godsmack, Buck Cherry. I
Your
would say
your
Creed.
boys
Creed.
Creed. Can you take me?
I'm constipated. I gotta get this shit out.
Well, yeah, they sing like they're constipated. You're like, "Can you take me higher?"
Great band though. I mean, they really, really had some good fucking songs.
They did, they did.
You
Nickelback
know,
too.
like Nickelback.
Hit it on
Oh,
the hardest burn.
and the greatest band of the '90s to come out blows Metallica's heads off. And I just seen an interview with Rex Brown talking about this. That if Metallica did Justice for All in 1991, Pantera probably would not have made it. The
Hmm.
fact that they did such a shitty album, Pantera's Cowboys from Hell comes out and just destroys them. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is the new Metallica. This is what Metallica should be doing, you know?
Hmm.
And then Pantera blew up, Vulgar Display of Power, and Cowboys from Hell, and they kept it. They had a good 7 year run, until the late '90s. Poor Dimebag got killed on stage, but Metallica ruled the '90s for metal. That was the band. There's no Metallica in my book. You know, there was only Pantera. Of course, Fate's Warning too, but they were so obscure and only known, in Europe and stuff. But Pantera were massive, massive, massive band. So, but anyway, so Rush made it through the '70s, made it through the '80s. We're up to the '90s. What happens at the end of the '90s? Neil goes through the worst thing a human being could ever go through. God, his daughter dies, going to college, then his wife dies. So the guy is devastated. He takes 5 years off. Getty puts out a great solo album, My Favorite Headache. Alex put out a great solo album a little bit earlier than that, and it was really good, but I can't think of the name of it. But anybody who wants to hear a good album, My Favorite Headache by Geddy Lee Solo, which might be what the new Rush would sound like with Anika.
Hmm.
And that's what I think the new Rush would sound like, Geddy Lee's solo album. Um, because it made me want to hear Rush though. When I heard it, I was like, because the drummer was a great drummer, the drummer from Soundgarden. No, well, yeah, the drummer from Soundgarden, and songs were good, but I was like, something's missing. You know what I mean? So like, there's like something missing in this mix, and it was Alex and Neil. So they, he never toured though, but they got back together and I was like 2001 and they did Vapor Trails. And then that was the beginning of Rush becoming so popular in pop culture and gaining a new fan base. And I'm in the 2000s. So after the tragedy, Vapor Trails took off, massive tours. They did really good. Then they start to get into pop culture. They're in a movie called I Love You Man. The movie's about Rush. How many bands could say that?
Mhm.
How many bands could say there's a movie about them? These two
That's
crazy
pretty amazing.
actors. He's two. I forgot. You would know that better than me. The guys that were in the movies. Your
Was one of them Paul Rudd?
Yep, Paul Rudd
Might be
is in
another
it.
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're these two Rush fans, and they become besties. And the goal is to see they. The goal is to play like Rush, and they're jamming on Tom Sawyer, and they sound horrible. And then they go and they see Rush, and they're going crazy, and they get backstage, and Rush is in the movie, and that's when Rush rose to, like, when Ozzy did the show, the reality show, everybody knew Ozzy. In the 2000s, everybody knew Geddy Lee. They might not have known Neil or Alex, but everybody knew who Geddy Lee was, you know. And Rush blew up in popularity. They were in a movie called The Trailer Park Boys. They were on an episode of Chicago Fire. Remember that show? I don't know if you remember. It was like a TV show. Um, their songs made it to Supernatural, a movie, or another show called I love My Name Is Earl. Working Man was in that, and God's Favorite Idiot, Temple of Syrinx, was in that. I never heard of these shows, but they made it on TV shows. They made they made it in a movie about them, a real movie. Then the documentary comes out by
Mhm.
Sam Dunn. Rush is the biggest thing in the world at this point, you know, in the 90s, out of the older bands. People are still talking about Rush. Ozzy wasn't that popular musically in the millennial. Ozzy wasn't. His show was. His music wasn't. We're in a lot of older bands that were really, really popular. Rush was. They
Mhm.
had, thank God they had that run from 2001 to 2014. They had a nice run, and they ended with Clockwork Angels. Then they retired. Neil didn't want to do it anymore. And Neil passes away, and the legacy of Rush lives on with the new drummer Anika, and this is why Rush is the greatest band in the galaxy. And I think we nailed it. I think we got all the points, you know.
We did, yeah.
So
Think with part one. I mean, I'm just gonna be like ongoing series because we're just
yeah,
scratching the surface.
and I'll fight anybody who says Rush is not the greatest band in the galaxy, and
You
they
know,
are. Yeah.
I do wonder. I would love to get Silky Joe's perspective on Rush because I get the impression he's not a Rush fan.
I think he likes Rush, specific Rush songs or Rush albums, but I don't think Silky Joe is a diehard Rush fan like us. I think he's obviously the expert on Led Zeppelin and the expert on U2 and many other bands that are out there, and
Mm.
an expert on music, period, you know. But we're going to be doing some more stuff with Silky Joe. I think we still got to finish our favorite concerts, you know, which I realized by talking to my singer, my old singer from Visions,
Mm.
what my first rock concert was. I should save it for the show. I shouldn't say it, you know.
Let's save it for the
I,
show.
I can't believe it. I can't. I was 7 years old. Let's put it that way, you know. So, but any comment? This was a long episode. And we were gonna try to do two, but there's no way, you know. Um,
Yeah, I mean it's Rush.
and the greatest thing about this, written in the temple. I don't know how did this come about. I don't know how it came about. I'm trying to remember.
It's just pure magic.
You know, you mentioned something, and I said, why don't we just do Rush, the greatest band in the galaxy? And then we just, you know, just like last week when we were working together, we talked about Prague. We just heard ELP. Who's ever playing the radio station now? They fucking changed it, but who's ever playing ELP in the temple, whatever priest, thank you, thank you. I know it's not a certain one because he wouldn't know ELP from. He would probably would know Bad Bunny, but not ELP, fucking guy. But you know, anyway, we're getting that metal table is our muse, just like Mr. Black is. So great episode. Anything you want to add about the maestros?
No, no, I just yeah, Rush is the greatest. Everybody out there should listen to at least one album.
Yeah,
Good place to start is Moving Pictures, and then go from there.
definitely. Or you know, and the create and what blew my mind is the most selling albums are all the prog albums.
Mhm.
2112, Farewell to Kings, Permanent Waves,
Yeah.
Natural Science. I mean, what a song, you know. So it's like And everybody should see I Love You, Man. Go out and see. If you don't know that movie, it slap in the bass, slap in the, like go see that movie, rent it. I mean, go see rent it or whatever, buy it or see it on Prime, and because not too many bands haven't were they weren't even a cameo. They were literally in the movie. They were performing in it. They were backstage. So that's what makes them such a unique band, and that's why they're in such demand now, for going to see them.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited that they got the new drummer, Anika Niles. And I think this tour is going to be a huge success. And I think there probably will be an album, and I think, and if it is anything like Getty's solo album, I think it might be cool because there was a lot of good riffs and stuff on that. So we'll only see, but
Time will tell.
yeah. So please leave comments. About Rush, how you feel about them. What we missed. Did we miss anything that Rush has done? I try to think real hard. I really, they conquered the '70s, conquered the '80s, embraced it with technology. They used grunge in the '90s, and they got a little darker, like you said, with lyrics and stuff, with the Stoics and stuff like that, and Young. And then, in 2000 just became, Vapor Trails. That's the one album we stopped at because we were just like, wait, we're gonna run out of Rush albums, you know. So we got to do Vapor Trails,
Yep.
and I don't know, just go out, see Rush when they come around, download their music, whatever you do, to listen to your music, and check out the Cheech and Manny Music Podcast. I think, what did you release? Rush's tickets, the ticket sales, right? We explained
Wait, the
how,
last one?
yeah, it was Rush and Anika Niles. We introduced Anika and we talked about the Ticketmaster thing. Was that?
Yes. But no, the last one was Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, okay, okay. But we did Ed Gein and we did the Rush one too,
Hmm.
before that, so taking a break from serial killers, getting back to the music.
What we're good at, music.
Exactly, definitely. So,
Yeah, we have the Rush. Well, that's actually the yeah, we have the Deliver Me from Nowhere, Bruce Springsteen, The River,
yeah.
part one, or side A. Ed Gein, True Story of a Month,
Hmm.
and then Rush, Ticketmaster, Anika Niles.
Exactly. And then we're going to be finishing up. Well, not finishing up. The river is going to be a project, so we're going to do side two of the river probably next time we get together. And then we got to get Silky Joe back on here. I know the fans are missing him, and we got to do our top 10 concerts, which will just be fun. A good time. So anyway, great show as always. I think it was a nice hour, maybe probably more. And I think I'll see you at the temple. I
Yeah.
think, and who knows what we'll come up with this week.
Yeah, I know.
So gonna
That
be
creative corner.
exactly a creative silver table. God, hope they never get rid of it. Although people are dropping scales in your department, I hear.
I heard, I heard, I heard. I mean, I've never, long time since that's actually happened. So that's weird.
Not in my department because Frenchie comes running in with those tables, knocking shit down every single day. I actually caught a scale one time. I thought I was gonna have a freaking hernia. He knocked it, and it fell, and I had like one hand, and somebody came over, and because when those things fall, it's like a cell phone. It's over. It's
Mhm.
over. The thing cracks and all that, and we're screwed. But that had a special thing in it where you could do some special gizmo. I don't know. So anyway, we'll be back next week, and like, subscribe, do all the cool stuff. Check out our those podcasters on Instagram. We have a few reels up there that we did, and many more great things to come. So anyway, any last words?
No, on that note, Rush is the greatest band in the galaxy, and
Definitely.
be careful with the priests.
Oh,
And we will definitely revisit all things Rush. It's
yeah.
like consider this the icing on the cake.
Oh yeah, definitely. Rush never gets old. It never goes away. So
Oh,
great episode, Nanu Nanu, and check out Potter's Field in Massapequa on November 12th. Uh, and check out the Cheech and Manny show.
subscribe.
And subscribe, like, and all that fun stuff. And till next time, great show.
All right, Cheech. Till
All right.
next, I'll see you at that corner.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. That
Go back,
magic.
and we're gonna come up with a new idea.
We're gonna call it the heavy metal table.
The heavy metal corner. Heavy
It's
metal.
not where you just cut parm.
Oh
It's
no.
it's a magical place.
It's a sacred spot for the
It
Cheech.
is, and there's gonna be a plaque there
And it's
one day.
crazy because it's right in the middle or under the priest's noses.
Yeah, there's no they can't detect what's going on. They
I
haven't
know the
figured out.
priest. I know the priest tried to stop us, but we cannot be stopped like Rush. We are
We
going to adapt. We are like Rush every decade. We are gonna thrive.
we adapt every time we work. We're very much living 2112 every Sunday. We're like the character in 2112. We're you got the priests screaming and
Yeah,
uh
those priests screaming. I bet you right now, since the holidays, they're even screaming
oh
more.
I don't want to go there. I dread it. I got to be there in a couple hours. It's
Listen, man, all
you
this
know
means making modern music. Listen, all good.
yeah,
It's really about the question of your honesty, and we'll end it.
exactly.
Uh,
And we are two honest guys trying to preach
Dude, not
knowledge,
even honest, authentic. I,
authentic.
and that's what Rush is. The last reason, and by the way, again, for our Rush fans, no, we're gonna have more episodes on why they're the greatest. We
Yeah,
just needed to get this out there. And then
yeah,
one more, I just came up with this on the spot. Authenticity. Rush is authentic. Like
exactly.
it's rare to
Exactly.
find that in music.
You
And
don't you don't see it. You don't see it that much. It's in longevity, like real longevity, in quality of longevity. I don't know. You could say AC/DC, right? Amazing band. Like, before we go there, amazing band. Like let there be rock,
Bro, did you see
high
that video?
voltage.
You said video like
Yes,
75 year old. Like,
but like when you think about like AC/DC, let there be rock, high voltage,
yes, yes.
dirty deeds, highway to hell, back in black, for those about to rock, then that's it. I mean, that
Uh,
uh,
yeah. They
the one that came out in the '90s, uh,
thunderstruck, right?
Thunderstruck. That's it. But it took like a couple of bad albums to get there, but not a good album. Rock in a Hard Place, I think they had an album. Not not a good album in since the '80s, '90. Thunderstruck,
And
90.
it's funny because again, ACDC, and we'll leave it on this last no, but um, that's a good debate question. Are they eternal? Hmm. But I will say, like, when you compare, let's say two lyrics, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, um, I'm gonna sing Brian Johnson's voice, like Brian Johnson's voice, like
Yeah.
versus, um, um, versus, let me do my favorite Rush song.
I will choose free will.
I will. There are those who feel that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
tell the losing hand. But done. I
yeah.
don't know. One stands the test of time more than the other one. I don't know.
Yeah, I
The
mean, my
sacred, wait,
but-
to seek the sacred river out, to
oh
down
yeah,
the waves of ice, to break my fast on honey
honeydew.
versus I don't
Uh,
know.
like there's a
Oh,
time in Quincy.
dude, you know what's the cringe one?
Which one?
Um, you got me shaking all night.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I actually gave inspiration to Greta Van Fleet, so maybe we have to think.
Oh, but I think we butchered him last week. We don't have we won't. I gotta stick up my ass. Pull it out tight.
Oh, what I sang like this?
But but no, my point with ACDC was the consistency
Yeah,
stopped.
yeah.
Like maybe
Oh
for
yeah,
three albums.
yeah.
And then Thunderstruck, which is an anthem in any baseball. nothing could top that.
The guitar thing, ding, 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 like,
Uh, Razor's Edge, but like it's yeah, they and then after Thunderstruck, they're not an album.
you know what's funny? Actually, just one more thing. Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, he definitely also was copying Brian Johnson, that style of singing, like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
um it's good in the jungle, baby. Have you ever
yeah.
seen it live? Like,
Well, if you listen to Nazareth, that's who I think he also took
right.
from too.
Oh, as an aside, do you know Graham Parsons?
Oh, I love Graham Parsons. Yeah, yeah,
Guys,
yeah.
as a side, you guys, Silky Joe, you guys had a combo about music that makes you cry. His version of Love Hurts with Emmy Lou Harris. Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Love.
we had that text today about these sad.
I
Joe
might
was like
share that with you
a
guys.
little mad
That
at me
song.
about the Little Texas. Probably the most depressing song ever. Little Texas. I forgot what it was called. The name of the song.
I would argue Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley is the most depressing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. There's so many.
That would be a good episode. The
The
most
most
depressing song
depressing
with Silky
song.
Joe.
Oh my! There we go. We just wrote one.
Dude, Silky Joe, if you're watching this, if you made it this far, I know you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
They're making fun of Greta Van Fleet and Brian Johnson.
The
Oh,
most depressing song.
most depressing songs.
There's so many of them. There's just
Yeah.
so many. Uh, God, I got like nine of them rolling in my head
Oh,
right
and
now.
actually, you know how we're talking about vocal stylings? The true original, not only Nazareth, but Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant.
On which song?
That vocal style.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. When you think about like "Love Hurts" might be one of the most depressing songs. That's such a sad song.
Oh,
And Nazareth, they kicked ass.
they
They
did. It
were
was
like "Son of
rocking.
a Bitch," and they had the Hair of the Dog. "Love Hurts" is like their Stairway to Heaven, their ballad. And that song was huge. And
It's funny. I love the Nazareth version. I love it.
oh yeah,
Graham Parsons and Joe's gonna love it. I'm sure he knows it. And the
yeah.
Emmy Lou Harris
I
sing.
didn't even I didn't even know that. I didn't know that you
Oh,
did.
share it, dude.
Yeah,
Man, something about country just
yeah, yeah.
when the song becomes countrified. Also, has Rush done a country song? I think
No,
that's
no,
one
no,
genre they haven't touched.
no. Thank God. I wouldn't want to. I
Pop,
wouldn't want
they
to hear
did
that.
pop, they did prog, they did metal, they
They
did
did.
folk.
They did covers. They did a cover of "The Seeker" by The Who.
Oh,
Which is,
but that's up their alley.
yeah, that was really cool. Um, but like the only the sad I would put "Tears" up there as a depressing song by
Yeah.
Russ. That song is
What's the one where I'm remembering the chorus? Done is just the two of us. Is that Tears?
yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
tears are falling. It's a really sad, depressing song, and I don't think Neil wrote it. I think Getty wrote it. Could
Yeah, you
be.
know what's funny? And another really actually got quick and then we're done. Two
Yeah,
another greatest reasons why Rush are the greatest. Dude, Time Stands Still, the song.
one of the greatest songs
It,
ever.
it's depressing, melancholy, beautiful.
Hmm.
Instrumentally, it's immortal. Like every time
Yeah,
I used to tear up sometimes when I really listen to the lyrics.
yeah,
Dude, like time, escaping your fingers, right? Like I love that, like concept. And
yeah.
the fact that he has voices carry singer.
Amy Mann, yeah, yeah,
Fantastic, time stands still. I'm trying to, and Getty's like, and that's Neil Peart. Peart's
yeah,
a
yeah.
master songwriter. He doesn't get enough credit.
No, no.
And finally, actually, one of the greatest reasons, in my opinion, is their song "Natural Science." Oh my goodness,
Oh God.
dude! It, that song is just like I don't know how to describe it. It for guys. I know maybe girls are not gonna get it if we put on
No.
"Natural Science." What's up and make the girls run away? But
Yeah.
dude, especially when you hear that, that weird Moog sound or
Well,
synthesizer.
they do this thing. It's like
It's like yeah, it's like
yeah,
dude, man, you just get it.
which is 7/8 time for you
Right.
music heads out there. It's the perfect song because it start. I love that.
And the oh, and Getty's vocals are amazing.
It's classic. It's one of the one of the, I mean, Permanent Waves is genius. You got Jacob's Ladder, which is a complete
Oh,
opposite of that. Spirit
dude,
of
I
the
would
Radio.
also, dude, in my opinion, just the fact free will makes him the fact that they wrote free will,
Yeah,
that song has a power. I don't know what that song has. And their live version, right, of Exit Stage Left
is better.
is
You can't
better.
even.
It's cooler, and I love Getty the way he sings these lines. Especially I love. If you remember the video, he's like, there are those who feel that, and he's like, and then you just see him rocking
Yeah.
brick, and then Alex just like riffing it. And I love
It-
when they zoom in on Neil, and he's just like wailing on it. He's like, "What was your
Yeah.
bombastic drums like the dude
Exactly.
like
My
it,
favorite part is when they do that fill. They all come back in down, down,
down,
down.
down, down, and then
Yeah.
Getty sings that great voice of his. Just
Yeah.
the song alone, man. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. One of my favorite Rush tunes. That and Limelight.
oh, Limelight.
it's just like,
Limelight is a great song. Not even for Rush, just great song. Period.
yeah, so many. I mean, off the top of my head, you get to Circumstances, another underrated song off of Hemispheres. The Trees, Jesus Christ,
We didn't even talk
fucking
about that.
trees.
They're parable.
Yeah, it's fucking Trees, one of the greatest songs, you know.
Which, by the way, it's funny because at the end, like they try to make, I think it's the Maples, equality by axe, chain, and saw. I love that lyric. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's a genius lyric.
And they're all gonna become paper in the end, and they're arguing.
Dude,
You know, it's
it
like,
makes no sense. Yeah, and if
yeah,
anything, the chainsaw, axe, and saw are the new. Kind of sounds like what's happening at the temple. So
exactly. It's a new technology because the trees are just being trees in the forest for millennium. You know what I mean? Like for forever. And then the axe, the chainsaw is going to take them down to build houses, and we need wood for fire. They always use trees, but there's such a point to that song, you know?
dude, not much. It's rare to have like those type of parables in songs. Again, another reason why Rush are the greatest.
Yeah, Neil made that happen. Neil made the lyrics happen, made you think, the thinking man's band made you think, and Rush, Getty, and Alex put the music, guitar and bass to it, you know?
And the icing on the cake, their philosophical manifesto and closer to the heart. That's one of
Mhm.
the most heartwarming songs. Like I love it. Like I love the contrast in the songs. And for people who've not heard first time Rush, listen to Closer to the Heart. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I know. And then you got your anthems like Working Man, kind of like Thunderstruck. Working Man is the
Bye Bye
anthem.
Night, Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, you know.
Um,
Then you get into like the Big Money. Just a
yeah,
great,
Money
great,
rocks.
great,
Talk about
great
the
song.
I think we talked about it on our Power Windows episode, which we said that also is Dahmer on the cover.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and Jeffrey
uh,
Dahmer, a
Dahmer,
young Dahmer, looking
young
out the
young
window.
Dahmer there, so I don't know what the Rush is trying to do there, but
We have a new Dahmer at the temple, but we won't go there. I
uh
was I was
so
I was
Gacy, he creeps me out.
He's very much like Ed Gain and Ed Gein, and I think I texted you. I was like on lunch in the locker room, and I was like, "Oh shit, here he comes!" He's like, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, and he's like, and he's big, he's like, hello there.
he's very strange." I'm just like, this guy's a fucking weird dude. Whatever you want, just take. Open the thing. Take anything, you know.
Man,
Just
man,
don't
just
kill me.
don't kill me. Don't take me to your basement.
Always the freaks and the geeks at the temple.
Oh man, another day at the temple for
Yeah.
surviving priests, serial killers, and
Oh God.
just succubuses of all kinds, man.
It's like surviving. It's like being an animal in the wilderness.
Dude,
And
my mind is I go in there and if you're smart, dude, you're dying at that place. Like, dude, you're
oh
gonna
yeah,
die. If you're intelligent, man, you gotta be dumb. Actually, I shouldn't say that, but you just gotta have your head low and survive.
you can't speak truths either.
Oh no, you gotta speak newspeak.
Yeah, you got to speak newspeak, and if God
Remember,
forbid,
dude, it's all about code. You know, we'll leave it at that. But geez,
yeah,
this was a lot of fun, brother.
this was great. Great episode, great topic. Thank you, Manny, and I will see you Sunday. and we will
brother.
see what we can come up with. But
Uh,
no, with the metal heavy metal table comes up with for us.
yeah.
And
And just because Christmas is coming, I want to do a Johnny Mathis Christmas album episode. I want to explore that album.
I have a concept of I was thinking about that like Nat King Cole, Perry Como. I sent you a Perry Como
Wait,
album.
why don't we do this? Have Silky, we put on, have Silky Joe on, and I will tell Silky Joe, man, get your Santa hats, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And just talk about like, like let's see what Silky Joe knows.
Like
And
we could, well, I was thinking about breaking down Perry Como, Nat King Cole, Johnny Mathis, and Andy Williams,
oh, let's do it.
and then break down and literally break it down like almost like production. Talk
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
like obviously the songs are genius. And then, what's the best album production wise? Who does the best interpretation of the Christmas song?
Why?
We don't have to talk about specific Christmas songs.
Oh no, I love that. I love that.
You
And
know.
production wise, those albums are masterpieces. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about timeless and eternal. Like,
They came out in the 50s and 60s.
dude, and
There wasn't even they're recorded on a 4 track.
which is
I mean,
nuts. No,
with all,
like, and you hear like Johnny Mathis Christmas album, dude, it's
yeah.
eternal. Nat King Cole.
And they're using full orchestra sometime on these albums. Like it's genius.
I'm excited. I think that's a great idea. So as our
Yeah.
friends can see, we are actually brainstorming as we go, and more to come at that metal table.
Yeah. Mr.
But
I think, well, that wasn't me just now. I'm sorry. That was Mr. Black.
Black,
And
he's actually the Ghost Rider.
he just wrote it. I got the paper here. Christmas,
Hey, Mr. Black.
yeah, Christmas
All right, Mr. Black.
albums.
Don't haunt my dreams and don't open my door.
Production. He brought up the production. Thank you, Mr. Black. Okay.
For those that don't know, Mr. Black is a cat, and he's actually the Ghost Rider of our show.
He's the ghostwriter of the show. So we have a metal table and a black
I
cat that
think
writes this.
he goes right for like Drake and Kendrick from time to time. So,
Yeah. And look out for that rap this prog
oh
rock song. It's coming
yeah,
out. Getty's
Getty,
putting it out.
I heard Getty's taking notes from Kendrick, and he's gonna create a diss to destroy Don Henley.
Yeah, Getty's gonna destroy Don Henley in a diss prog rock song, and Drake is gonna guest on it. I can't wait for that. And I think Joe Walsh is gonna guest on Don Henley. There's a rumor going around, and it's gonna just drop. Like they're not even gonna tell you. It's just gonna drop. Getty's gonna drop that album like
You
one
know,
day.
dude, it's gonna be like Russia gonna call the song "The Eagles Have Flown Away" or something.
The Eagles have flown the coop.
It's like Eagles have flown away.
Yeah, fly by night, fly away, Don Henley. You know.
Dude, it's like a farewell to kings, a farewell to dons.
Yeah. Don Henley's just wrong, man. You don't dish.
He's a fool.
Yuck. Don't say that.
Come on,
Rush would
man.
never make fun. Not that Rush listened to the Eagles, but they would never make fun of the Eagles. I love the Eagles. Like now you're making me not want to listen to the fucking Eagles
Oh,
because of that
no,
comment
it's
against
crazy
my
'cause
religion.
no, it's crazy 'cause I can see the flaws within the Eagles. I choose to ignore it because I love them. But now
Yeah.
I'm thinking, all right, Don,
Yeah.
take it easy.
And I'm glad that went away. It was only in the news for a couple days. It wasn't fake news because I really researched it and stuff. So, but Don Henley's just probably frustrated. He's older than Rush. He probably, you
Um,
know,
maybe
doesn't
he's
have any,
how come
doesn't have.
how come people are not paying $500 for our tickets?
Yeah, well, they did. When Hell Freezes Over, that was huge. That was a huge tour. And what was that in the early '90s? I mean, was it the '90s or
Yeah,
2000s? I
yeah,
mean, it was a big deal. They got back together, and it was like tickets were say $400 back then, which is equivalent to like 800 now, 1,000.
yeah.
But Don Henley, go away and
No, no, long live
look,
Rush.
look away and look for that prog diss song, man. Prog rock diss.
But
You know,
mention it at the temple tomorrow. Let me know what they say.
I'm gonna mention to Daquan that he needs to crank up, a mix of Farewell to Kings in his next DJ set. You want to get the girls dancing? Put
Yo,
on Farewell to Kings,
you
man.
put on a Farrell to no, no, dude, no. You put on Xanadu.
No, Cygnus X1.
Yo, see-
No, 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 you will see
if
booty
that
shake.
doesn't Dude, if that doesn't bring in the girls and boys together on the dance floor, I definitely, I don't know.
And I gotta just do this quick shout out, and this is sad. And I told you this at the temple, and we'll wrap up. Rest in peace, Jack Zakara. Mr. Zakara was my astronomy teacher
Hmm.
in high school, and he was the greatest teacher I ever had. I learned everything about science and astronomy. You know, Galileo, Copernicus, what is his name? Copernicus,
Right.
all the cats, Tycho Brahe, all these like great early astronomers I learned from Mr. Zakara. They called him Mr. Z. So we're in a planetarium one time, and I got uh Farewell to Kings with me. My friend Danny Brown bought it for me. Mr. Z, can you play Cygnus X1? Puts it on. Oh, no, don't know. And he starts doing crazy shit with the lights. Then we had 2112, and he did that for a class, and you hear the shh, down, out, and he's talking and he brings down the music. Thank you, Mr. Jack Sakara, for the memories and playing Rush in the junior high, Portchester Junior High Planetarium. Always remember that. Greatest teacher I ever had. I remember just digging on Tycho Brahe. I was like, that dude rocks, man. Tycho Brahe.
Yeah, truly inspirational. I love it.
So
Uh,
on that note,
yeah,
great times and good show tonight, man.
yeah, man.
And I'll see you in a couple days, and we'll do this next week, and we'll start to get the Christmas show going.
Cheech, my friend, have a good night. I'll
You
see you
too, man. Have a good one.
too, brother. Have a good night.
Peace. Take
Peace.
care.
Hey, man, you know what, Cheech? I'm gonna be in Massapequa on November 12th. Anything good going on there that day?
Really? You're gonna be there November 12th? Oh my God. Potter's Field is playing at Prohibition at 109 Front Street. We start at 7:45. You should definitely come by and check it out. You get to see the hot licks of Vincenzo rocking on the guitar, the amazing drumming skills of Robbie Offerman, the legend, and of course the frontman, Bobby, rocking out, doing his amazing rock show, and some weird guy playing bass. So definitely come out to that show, Manny. Thanks for letting me know you're going to be in Long Island.
Listen, I'm RSVPing and I'll be there. You should
Awesome.
be there too. November 12th. One more time, Cheech. What's the address?
109 Front Street, Prohibition, old school rock and roll club. Check it out.
All
Now
right.
back to our show.
And we'll see you there.
Later.